what it is. Every revolution or every political movement or any kind of change, and having someone, okay, CIA, which is fucking for you to call me CIA when you know I'm not.
Everything was politicized. It was, oh, this is when we became the left versus the right. But both sides are trash. In COVID,
his own thing. So it seems to be that money's the issue, that like we're using money and that's how politics is being pushed. Because now we've seen what someone does when they use their own money and it doesn't seem to be a solution. So I feel like we take money out of politics, we'll have a much better political system.
Politician, you think they're gonna come out and tell me the truth? They was lying to my mama. They ain't gonna never tell us.
So everybody, we look at certain things just because, oh, this happens in the hood or we see this every day. All the way up. These people were speaking truth. King, we could talk X, we could talk it all. They were speaking truth.
What's going on in anyone's mind, but let's take it as a given that Gray's argument is true, that the argument to not have ID is that it would be discriminatory versus certain socioeconomic brackets or something. It's like
the world's greatest trial run of what people will do and what people won't do. And we are the only country on the planet that really fought against the government. A lot of it,
because you focus on 80-20 issues. I'm looking at the Epstein issue as we have 80% of the information we need to prosecute these people that actually did anything, but you're focusing on the 20% trying to take down Donald Trump, which you're never going to get. So I'm going to keep sitting here with a smug-ass face on every single day.
I'll explain. Good question. I'll give you the answer. The Republican Party constantly talks about transgenders and transgender surgery to minors.
I'm mostly on the left, ideologically, but I don't associate with the Democrats because they're not ideologically on the left. The Democrats are clowns, and they're also losers.
About to be any engaging conversation. It's not about to be any discourse about different political ideologies, what works and what doesn't. If that is the outcome, right? For example, I'm not going to go and just put myself in the middle of a KKK rally.
Verify me. I'm not a fucking Fed. They always do this. I'll say this, right? But they did the same thing to Nick. We've seen the video. They'll call people who are genuine and authentic Feds because
the interesting thing to me is that the ones that claim that they believe the Constitution are now trampling the Constitution. The ones that said they believed in the First Amendment, the freedom of speech, right, are now going against the freedom of speech.
Leadership perspective.
They don't have no plan. They don't ever talk about nothing positive about the Democrat Party. Everything is just anti-Trump. They're not willing to have a conversation. They call us fascists. We willing to have a conversation. Charlie Kirk's willing to have a conversation.
The economy, but I think 20, 30, 40 years when these accounts mature. So you can't access the account until you're 18 years old. And when you're 18, you could either access the account, help pay for a first car, home, college, or you could roll it into a retirement account. And then just based on current returns or historical returns, it could be $500,000. So it could be a great supplement to Social Security.
Good morning and welcome to the new party. I'm Nora Christine and I'm the host of Weekend and Weekday Recap, bringing you the stories everyone's talking about and the ones they don't want you to hear. We're breaking down all the latest in politics, culture, and the moments that shape the headlines live at 6 a.m. every Monday and Friday morning. So grab your coffee, wake up your mind, and let's get into it only here on The New Party.
Good morning, everyone. Today is Friday, January 30th, and I'm your host, Nora Christine. And this is The New Party, our weekday weekend recap. We are going to give you this week's recap in news. That first clip that you saw is regarding Nicki Minaj. Some folks are saying she's gone full MAGA. Some folks are saying she's now getting a gold bar. Let's break it down. So pretty much this week, guys, she appeared at a major Trump Treasury Department event this week, okay? And at said event, she definitely got everyone's attention. Let's watch this clip and see what she had to say when she was standing with the president.
I don't know what to say, but I will say that I am probably the president's #1 fan. And that's not going to change. I don't know what to say, but I will say that
so guys, as you can see, she said that she's President Trump's #1 fan, okay? So this is interesting that she says all of this just because many of her fans are upset with her. Many fans are disappointed in her. They're saying they don't understand how Nicki Minaj can go from Nicki Minaj and making the music she's making and now being with Trump. But this is what happened, guys. She was at a major Treasury Department event this week. And they were talking about the Trump accounts. As you guys may or may not know, this is a new program. It'll be a federal program that'll be offering investment accounts seeded with government funds for all children born between 2025 and 2028, part of Trump's economic agenda to help Americans, okay? At this event, as you can see, she called herself Trump's #1 fan. She embraced conservative support despite facing backlash online. Other celebrities are also calling her out. Ariana Grande said she's not talking to her. Billie Eilish said she's disappointed. So people are definitely putting pressure on her not to do this. Joe, thank you for watching. Joe said she had to kiss the ring. I don't know. But I definitely think that Nicki Minaj is doing this for some political play. What that might be. Just so you guys know, she also is currently engulfed in a beef with rapper Jay-Z. So maybe that could be it. Also, you know, just so you guys know, her brother is currently incarcerated for child molestation charges. Her husband is currently a registered ex-offender for allegedly, I don't know the details. Well, I guess he was convicted of it for raping a girl. I think he was like 19. The girl was like 16 at the time. She said he forced himself on her. I don't really know the details. I say allegedly because I don't know the details. You guys can look into that. So yeah, all of this. And then also what's interesting is Nicki Minaj admitted herself that she came here as a child, as an illegal or undocumented person. So it's interesting now that she's now being fully embraced by the Trump administration, especially when they're taking such a hard stance on illegal people. This is an interview between her and Alex Bruce Seconds. Side note,
President.
This guy that you see here, supposedly she got introduced to him by Amber Rose. As you guys may or may recall, Amber Rose took the main stage of the RNC. So Amber Rose has now taken credit and said that she introduced her to this guy here, and this guy here then connected her with the Trump administration. We'll watch a little bit of this. I'm not going to watch the whole thing, but let's hear what she had to say.
Thank you. I was very scared.
You look pretty good behind the seal, by the way.
Thank you.
I must admit, your competition, which really isn't competition, didn't really look good behind the seal when they were with Kamala Harris.
Oh.
Just saying. So, Nicki, look, everyone knows that you are the undisputed queen of rap, but what many people in this room might not know about you is who was Nicki before the fame? How did you grow up? Where did you grow up? What was the financial situation of your upbringing?
Well, I grew up in Southside Jamaica, Queens, New York City. And one, woo, thank you. And you know, humble beginnings. And I would say that actually I came from a different country at about 5 years old and always wanted the American dream. I thought that when I came to the United States, I was gonna be like moving into like a castle and I was gonna be wearing big like poofy dresses and going out to like ballrooms. I don't know why I had that idea. But anyway, but so my parents both worked really hard and I guess you could say they were very motivating people, believed in me, but we really didn't have much. There were
All right, guys. So I'm going to pause this real quick and I'll get back to her role in all of this. Guys, if you're watching, please hit the like button. Support your girl, support independent media. Hit that like button. I appreciate all your support. But pretty much where, she's not going to be necessarily a government official, but she's being called a high profile public supporter. So no official title or position is being given to her. Her most visible role was to endorse and publicize his Trump accounts savings initiative, okay, and to encourage donations and participation. Also, rumor is she got the Trump gold card. She posted that. She's being promoted as the Trump gold card is being promoted as a fast track residency pathway tied to significant financial contributions or investment programs. Minaj shared she received one and is finalizing citizen paperwork. Though this is her statement and not independently confirmed by official government communications, she already currently has her U.S. residency. So this card appears promotional rather than an official legal appointment. What's interesting to me, guys, is there's such a hard stance on illegal immigration. And let me be clear, I do not like illegal immigrants either, in the sense of we've seen under Joe Biden, the 4 years he was in office, the amount of rapes and unalivements by young women, the amount of lawlessness by the trade gangs. And so that was the reason why I believe Trump won. Immigration and the economy were the top two reasons I believe why Trump won. So with that being said, is now Nicki acknowledges she came here as a child illegally, and now she's being praised and celebrated. So two things for me. Is she going to be who we prop up to usher in when Trump tacos on his stance on illegals and his hard stance on immigration, which we'll be talking, that's our next story, guys. So make sure you guys stick around for that. Or is she just going to be getting her retribution behind the scenes against Jay-Z, against the illegal practices in the music industry? I don't know. People, Buzz said, discuss it, make an example and ship her out. Yeah, and to Skell's point, he's correct. So I do think that this is kind of like interesting to me. Like, is that going to be what he uses her for? Because Trump is going to tackle guys on illegals. Trump is not doing this mass deportation like he's claiming. The numbers just aren't there, guys. But I think the biggest reason to Trump's defense is the support's not there, right? He can't do mass deportation if the judges are not supporting him. He can't do mass deportation if, you have these people that are going out in the streets and interrupting the ICE's efforts and interrupting ICE and not getting support from local law enforcement. So that's the reality that we have to come to right now. Are we really going to see mass deportation? And what does that look like? This week has shown that it may not be something that Americans are comfortable with. I mean, a few unalived bodies have popped up because they mess with the ICE, and this is the outcome, FAFO, right? I don't necessarily support it, but that's the reality. You can't go around kicking and attacking ICE agents and think nothing will happen to you. But anyways, this is, I digress. We're going to move along here, guys. Again, if you're watching, please hit the like button. And this is Morning Recap. So, guys, we're going to pivot here a little bit, and we're going to talk about, did Trump taco on ICE enforcement? Okay. Did Trump taco on ICE enforcement? So, guys, we saw the week that we're having. It's been a pretty rough week here in America, in the sense of, it was hard seeing that video of Alex Preddy. Anybody, whether you're on the left or the right, I think would have an emotional response from that video, either in support of ICE or in support of the protesters. But nevertheless, let's watch Tom Homan and see what he had to say when he went there. So Trump basically, when that situation happened in Minneapolis, as you guys know, Alex Preddy was unalived. You guys can go back on our channel and watch the videos. We did breakdowns of it. We showed different angles. I'm not playing the video. I'm kind of over the video. I have Alex Preddy, Minneapolis derangement syndrome this week. I don't want to watch it anymore. I'm sure you guys feel the same way. But anyways, when that happened, Trump backtracked on Chief Greg Bovino and relieved him of his services. Let me show you who Greg Bovino is, and then we'll get into what Tom Homan had to say.
Behind me are a few individuals there. That's the original turn and burn, the folks that helped make America. But you know what? I'm very proud of what you, the Mean Green Machine, are doing in Minneapolis right now, just like you've done it across the United States over these past tough 9 months. And I want you to know that you're the modern day equivalent. Turn and burn. Makes me very proud. I also want you to know that I've got your back now and always. I love you, I support you, and I salute you.
So that is Greg Bovino. Yeah, so Joe, they didn't fire him. What happened was they relieved him of his services this week, okay? So that's pretty much, that's the summary of the week in that regard. And people are asking, is Trump tacoing? Is Trump shifting his position? So guys, just so you guys know, the liberals have come up with a term for Trump. Trump always chickens out. And I will say there is some truth. However, I think it's the art of the deal, right? Trump goes, he aims high, and he lands low, or he lands at his midpoint. That's negotiations for you. You can have a grandiose dream or number that you put out there, but you have a real number, a real thought, or a real whatever, and that's where you end up. And that's how negotiation works, okay? If you've ever negotiated with somebody, you always say a really low or really high number, and then you have that midpoint. And I think that's where we're at with Trump. I think Trump always knew that the mass deportation, the millions and millions of people that Joe Biden allowed in, we weren't going to get them out, okay? So we had to meet in the middle. And this is where the meeting in the middle part is. And this is where the shifting of the taco, I think, is coming in on, okay? So there are now new guidance for ICE in Minnesota. ICE officers were ordered not to engage with agitators during enforcement operations after protests and 2 fatal unalivements, and to focus arrests on immigrants with criminal charges. And that's not what millions of Americans voted for. So Trump is about to have a really interesting take in all. I'm curious how Americans are going to feel, because 77 million people voted for getting illegal immigrants out. Everybody I know that voted for Trump, they're like, no, we voted for that. This is what we voted for. He also relieved Greg Bovino of his duties. Let's watch this clip of what Tom Homan had to say as he's now taking over.
Decisions to allow this kind of operation to proceed in this way and to create such fear.
Well, like the Border Patrol, last 4 years under Joe Biden, we had an open border where 10, 12,000 people a day are coming across the border. Border Patrol got overwhelmed, which means we sent thousands of ICE agents down there to help deal with that humanitarian crisis, to help secure the border. Now we have millions of people released in this nation, many unvetted. Now we got to find them. Before the big, beautiful bill, we had a total just under 5,000 deportation officers to look for millions of people, many in public safety threats. So yes, we needed Border Patrol to come and help on our mission now. And reason for the massive deployment is because of the threats, because of the violence. Our officers need to be protected. If I'm on an operation, an arrest team, I'm going to a house, I got to be busy with that guy, the dangerous guy, and I can't keep looking over my shoulder at what's happening outside the house. So we brought extra resources in to provide that security. And as I said, As we drill down on these great agreements we got and this great understanding we have means less. So we can draw down those resources. When the violence decreases, we can draw down those resources. But based on the discussions I've had with the governor and the AG, we can start drawing down those resources as far as those looking for public safety threats being released and do it in the jail with much less people. So the drawdown is going to happen based on these agreements. But the drawdown can happen even more if the hateful rhetoric and the impediment and interference will stop. So Border Patrol, I was a Border Patrol agent. These men and women are patriots. God bless them. They're here to help us. And the drawdown will come soon, depending on when this actually, I see this in play. But the agreements to have alone is going to cause a significant drawdown. So you're going to see a drawdown.
All right, guys. So, he's saying that they are going to see a drawdown. And that's interesting because before this unalivement, they were doubling down. Okay. So pretty much, yeah, the border czar sent in a response. Trump deployed Tom Homan. Okay. That's the border czar. That's who you saw, to lead immigration enforcement in Minnesota, and said operations would continue, but with adjustments meant to reduce tensions and improve safety while still targeting undocumented immigrants with criminal histories. Guys, like I said, some people are a little uncomfortable. Yeah, Joe, we talked about this last night. Go back and watch our stream. We talked about the signal chats. We also did a breakdown of the signal chats, and we did a reaction to James O'Keefe's documentary. So, guys, we do live stream every Monday through Thursday at 8 p.m. So you guys can go back and watch our show. We have a panel team that represents all sides from the left to the right. So we have all sides on our panel. So we're not just in an echo chamber. But nevertheless, going back to this, people I don't think, understood what mass deportations were going to look like. What did you guys think mass deportations were going to look like? Some people just are not comfortable with some of the things that they saw, and that's understandable. And this is where we're at. And everybody attacks Trump. They make fun of him. They say he tacos. But I actually think it's a good idea that he's not married to certain decisions, because he's actually trying to do what the American people want. When the majority of Americans are saying that these deportations are making them uncomfortable the way they're being played out, it's a good thing that you have a president that's listening to you, okay? And that's taking other things into consideration. So the other thing, Honan warned separately, suggested that justice is coming for groups, and that goes to Joe's point of the signal chats. He claims are funding opposition to ICE operations, reflecting a combative rhetoric toward critics, even as enforcement adjusts. Guys, and this week we learned about these group chats. So what these people are doing, whether you agree with them or not, they have these signal chats, and allegedly they're saying that the assistant governor of Minnesota was involved in these chats. They're getting ICE location somehow. Maybe she was leaking them. And so from there, they then talk in the chat, hey, ICE is at 55th Street and Hollywood Boulevard, for example. And then they're going there and they're obstructing justice by blowing whistles, throwing things, doing all sorts of assaulting things to these ICE agents. Okay. And so this is the problem, guys. These ICE agents are being attacked on a daily basis. Whether you guys agree, don't agree, it's not okay, because they have a job to do. They have federal enforcement to make. And sometimes from the clips I've seen, they've interrupted proceedings of pedophiles, of actual criminals. So I understand that it's upsetting that there are, people that necessarily broke the law and they're here illegally. But if you came into this country undocumented, if you didn't show up to your court appearances, that's breaking the law, guys. That's a criminal offense. You have to show up to your court appearances. And I don't think the Trump administration is doing a good job explaining that. Okay. Frank, you need to stop crying. Okay. Like, this is a week recap of the week. Okay. If you don't like it, I appreciate you for watching, but this is where we're at. We have to talk about these things. Andrea said only 5% detainees are criminals. And again, what is your definition of a criminal? These are the things we need to be asking ourselves, because if somebody came here and their first act was coming into the country without documentation or complying with immigration laws by reporting to their court appearances, they broke the law, and that in turn would make them a criminal. Conversations that people don't want to have, unfortunately. Also, we found out that ICE is scaling down in Maine. Following political pressure, large ICE-scale operations in Maine were announced by officials to be ending, though regular immigration enforcement is expected to continue. So people are pushing back. Let's acknowledge that. People are really pushing back. People are pushing back. They don't like the way this looks. They're uncomfortable. I will say, for me, seeing people get unalived really makes me uncomfortable. Let's watch this clip, another clip of Tom Homan.
CBP officers are performing their duties in a challenging environment under tremendous circumstances, but they're trying to do it with professionalism. If they don't, they'll be dealt with. Like any other federal agency, we have standards of conduct. They are sworn law enforcement officers working tirelessly to enforce our country's border security, immigration laws, protecting the interests of our country and preventing.
So yeah, guys, going back to that, hold on, can I shift it? Okay, sorry. Going back to that. So Trump has praised ICE work in Minneapolis and suggested that at some point federal agents will leave, even while continuing to defend the overall mission and operational choices publicly. The Justice Department has appealed a judicial order that would limit tactics federal agents can use during protests related to immigration operations, signaling the administration wants to preserve enforcement flexibility. So Pam Bondi has really been a disappointment this week. Really been a disappointment. I think majority of people want her gone. Really been a disappointment regarding support for the enforcement of these things. Disappointment regarding arrests for unpeaceful protesters. I know that there are peaceful protesters. Let me be clear, but the unpeaceful ones need to be locked up. Let's watch this clip. This is ICE agents targeting the news they're claiming. Let's watch.
Get out of here. Car, we said. Get in your vehicle. Get in your vehicle.
I'm in Minneapolis, where the federal immigration enforcement surge is continuing. This morning, my colleague and I saw reports of agents parked on a block in the north side of the city. We arrived and saw a vehicle idling with a few observers standing at the ends of the block. Eventually, that vehicle left and was followed by a handful of observer vehicles. We followed that, staying a couple hundred feet back, and after a few blocks, noticed a white minivan aggressively driving up behind us with armed agents inside. We pulled over and turned on our hazards to let them pass. They didn't. We eventually continued driving down the street.
So yeah, guys, pretty much, somebody asked in the chat, what are they doing to people that are showing up to their court appearances? The reality is, guys, I implore you to do your own research and not listen to what the news is saying, not listen to what somebody that's emotional against Trump is saying. The reality is some of these people may have now showed up to this court appearance, but they probably did not show up to the other court appearances. And they probably had an order at that point for their detainment. But nevertheless, the overall takeaways right now is Trump is not completely backing away from law enforcement fundamentally. Instead, the administration is trying to manage optics and tactics after public outcry over violent incidents and legal challenges. Also, the government America is now going against him and Pam Bondi. They're very upset. Let's watch Stephen A. Smith and what he had to say about Pam Bondi, because she's been a disappointment, like I said.
State to end the sanctuary city policies and cooperate fully with immigration and customs enforcement. This includes honoring immigration detainers and allowing ICE agents to interview and remove individuals from state prisons and jails. That's where it gets interesting. Because if you have crossed the border illegally, and for some reason you are incarcerated because of a crime that you may have committed that had nothing to do with ICE at the time, what is wrong with ICE and the feds insisting that the states, local and state government, let you into their jails, let you into their prisons to get these individuals and deport them back to where they came from? You got millions upon millions of American citizens that ain't gonna have a problem with that part. They'll have more of a problem with the voter rolls and other things before they have a problem with that.
So yeah, I mean, that's a good point. What do you guys think about what he just said? That's very interesting. That's an interesting point right there. And I think that's what everybody is really arguing against with this whole thing. Is this really about ICE enforcement, or is this about a distraction for Tim Walz's prosecution and the amount of fraud in Minnesota done by citizens, done by the Somalians, done by the government officials? I mean, billions of dollars have been taken out of Minnesota. I can't wait for it to all come out and everyone to open their eyes. Billions, not millions, billions with a B. And that's really what it boils down to. What were these protests truly for? Immigration and ICE enforcement, or were they for something sinister as a distraction? You guys need to ask yourselves, what are you okay with? But anyways, let's switch gears here, guys. We're going to talk about the fact that they're saying that there are anti-ICE nationwide protests and a general strike coming, guys. Okay. If you guys are watching for the first time, you guys are watching my morning show. We do a weekday recap. Here we go. And so this is a bulletin board, guys, because they say these protests are coming to a city near you. Okay. They're actually scheduled for today. So let's break it down, guys. Let's talk about what's happening, okay, with these protests. We've seen the protests all over the country. Let's see if we can see what some of these protests look like. They've been mainly in Minnesota. I think they've been mainly peaceful in other places, though. We've been pretty lucky with that. The violent ones are only in Minnesota. How coincidental, how convenient, right? So pretty much they're saying that they're going to happen all over. I want to show you guys some clips of some protests. Let's watch it together. Guys, if you're watching, please hit the like button, Make sure you're subscribing to our channel. Hit that notification bell too, so you know when we go live. This protest, they're saying that this is in Denver, guys, okay? Let me mute this. They're saying that this is in Denver. So yeah, let's talk about these protests while we see this. A major general strike and protests are scheduled for January 30th, which is today, framed as a national shutdown and also described as part of the 2026 United States general strike. The call is for people across the U.S. to skip work, school, and shopping to protest federal immigration enforcement, specifically actions by ICE. Organizers estimate hundreds of actions in dozens of states and more than 1,000 supporting organizations. And again, this goes back to what we talked about on the show last night. Guys, these organizations are being funded by our federal grant money, okay? James O'Keefe broke this down. He traced and tracked the money. These people are getting federal grants, okay? Our federal dollars to organize this. It blows my mind. It's really disappointing. I don't care if you want to protest, but I don't think it's okay to use government money to be disruptive. I think it's like traitors. Like, I made a short on this. If you guys have been following our page and following us, I talked about this. If you ever watched the TV show Traitors, it's basically a reality show, and there's a group of cast, and 3 people are secretly chosen to be traitors, and the rest of people in the cast are faithfuls, and they are working against the team and doing disruptive things because they're traitors. We have these traitors within our country, and that is what's happening. Again, I don't mind you protesting, but when you're being disruptive, that's a problem. But let's hear about what they're doing now. The strike and protest grew out of Minneapolis, triggered by the unalivements of Renee Good and Alex Preddy during ICE operations. Activists demand defunding or abolition of ICE, legal accountability for federal agents involved in civilian deaths, ending aggressive immigration enforcement practices, some broader calls for accountability from the Department of Homeland Services. And guys, also, when you talk to some of these people, they will tell you they don't want any ICE, they don't want any immigration enforcement. Most of them will tell you that. Some will say, oh, we don't want to get undocumented people out because they're not criminals. Some will, they all have their own different definition of it. But the reality is they don't want ICE to exist at all. Okay. That is pretty much the bottom line. They don't want ICE to exist at all. Okay, well, good. You can block us. No. You sound like a bobo brain. Anyways. So some local businesses, restaurants, and cafes are closing in solidarity instead of regular operations on strike day, absorbing economic costs to show political support. Support varies regionally in areas like the Bay Area and Utah communities. Demonstrations and public closures are part of coordinated actions. Protests and boycott actions around boycott planning illustrate the economic dimension of the push, not just rallies. So basically, they're trying to stop the economy. They're trying to block the economy all over ICE. Okay, and again, you have that right. I actually don't mind this. Don't show up to work. Don't make your money. Sit down and do nothing. You know, that's their right. I actually prefer this than you burning down the cities. I prefer this than you rioting. Strike said, I'm in Europe and wish we had ICE. Maybe we can afford an apartment again. And you know what, Strike? You bring up a very good point. I want to show you guys what the vice president said. This is what the vice president had to say. He actually talked about this. He talked about, he mentioned this. Let's see when you bring up the point of what he said. And he had to say. Guys, if you're watching, please hit the like button. Thank you for subscribing. Let's watch what Vice President J.D. Vance had to say.
Because we're starting to get those illegal aliens out of the United States of America, those criminals, those gang members, those people who are taking homes that ought by right go to the people in this room and your children and your grandchildren. It's simple economics. If you have fewer people, fewer illegal aliens trying to buy homes, that means American citizens are going to finally be able to afford a home again. It's very, very simple economics. Because
so pretty much he's drawing the connection. He's saying when we get the illegal aliens out, we have more supply of homes. I don't know how true that is, but if he says it, then it must be true. It makes sense. I mean, I do know that the amount of resources we've spent on undocumented people is high. If they don't have documentation, they can't get insurance through an employer, then we have to absorb those costs when they're sick. When their children start school, we absorb those costs and they're not paying taxes because they don't have documentation to pay taxes. So yeah, I mean, pretty much it's an uncomfortable conversation, guys. I know you guys are upset. Half the chat is saying no protest, half the chat is saying protest everything, protest Trump, protest everything. And then you have people in the chat saying all Americans are illegal. This is stolen land. Anyways, go into the next category this morning. We're going to end the morning. I'm sure the people that hate Trump is going to love this one. Melania movie premiere, guys. We're going to talk about the Melania movie premiere. What did that look like? Is Melania going to be a flop? Let me share my screen while I read the story to you guys. If you're watching, please hit the like button. Thank you for hanging out with me this morning. You like me, you hate me, I appreciate you either way.
And together.
Wait, guys, I'm gonna mute this. We're gonna just let this play in the background. So pretty much, Melania movie premiered this week. Okay, there's a lot of mixed things about Melania's movie premiere. It's interesting the amount of money that went into it. We're gonna break it down this morning. So Melania is a documentary feature film about First Lady Melania Trump. It really focuses on the 20 days leading up to the 2025 presidential inauguration and aspects of her personal and of her public and private life. It was produced by Amazon MGM Studios, directed by Brett Ratner, making his return to feature filmmaking after a long absence due to past misconduct allegations. Okay, wow, that's interesting. And so pretty much they said that Amazon paid $40 million to acquire the film's rights. And then another $35 million on marketing. The total spending for this has been $75 million. They said this is a really high number for documentaries. So that is interesting, the fact that they spent so much. This is Melania Trump. Let's hear what she had to say.
My son Baron, my sister Ines, my father, Victor Knaus, and my mother, who is watching down from heaven. Your love is the powerful force that propels me forward. Amazon's team has been inspired from day one. My son Baron, my sister Ines, my father Victor Knaus, and my mother, who is watching down from heaven.
All right. So pretty much, that was her giving her speech. It is interesting because they're saying that the movie is going to be a flop. That's what's interesting about this. And I'm sure you guys just love this in the chat, that it's going to be a flop. Also, Nicki Minaj went to the movie premiere. That was interesting. They just got Nicki, they propped Nicki up everywhere, aren't they? I'm trying to see if I can find a preview for the movie for you guys. I thought I had it pulled up, but nevertheless, yeah, I have a preview. Guys, if you're watching, please hit the like button. Let's watch a preview of the movie, of Melania movie.
Here we go again.
You can come in. Come on in. My proudest legacy will be that of peacemaker.
Peacemaker and in the fire. Beautiful. Together with like-minded leaders, we have a voice. Is it safe?
It is safe.
Everyone wants to know. So here it is. Hi, Mr. President. Congratulations.
Did you watch it?
I did not. Yeah, I will see it on the news.
So I wonder, guys, I'm about to be shady for a second here. Y'all think she's excited when she sees women like Nicki Minaj around Trump? Because she's like, oh man, or do you think she's like kind of worried that they're going to take Trump from her? Or you think she's kind of excited because she like gets a break? I don't know. I'm just being a little messy here because Melania seems like very unbothered by Trump. Like, give me my space, give me me time. She's a very me time kind of wife. You can tell she likes her time. But anyways, this premiered at the John F. Kennedy Center in Washington, D.C. It had a wide theatrical release with 15,000 to 2,000 theaters in the U.S. and internationally. It's scheduled to stream on Amazon Prime Video a few weeks after theatrical run. I've heard people say the reason why they think the movie is going to be a flop is MAGA is worried about going out and safely watching the movie, or anyone that supports this, because people are protesting everywhere. Who's to say you're going to go to a movie and some people come out and start protesting in the movie theater? I mean, they protesting in churches. Why will they not bring the protest to a movie theater? I actually would prefer you protest in a movie than you go protest in a church, but that's another discussion. So yeah, they're saying that industry insiders and cinema chains described UK ticket sales as soft, with some screenings only selling a handful of movies. US box office projections vary, but many tracking sources expect low totals, around a few $1 million of opening weekend at best. One UK report indicated only one ticket sold across 100 plus cinemas during opening, highlighting the commercial struggle outside the US. Jeez. Box Office Pro and Variety estimates range roughly 2 million to 5 million, guys. 2 million to 5 million. That's all they're saying that this movie is going to make. Like I said, Nicki Minaj was at the premiere. This is what she wore. The premiere, I believe, was last night. Yeah, this is not looking too good, guys. Like, they're saying that this movie is not going to be good. Let's run this. I'm just going to run this while I read the rest about the movie. Another forecast specifically predicted about $3 million in its first frame in North America. Wired found only a couple of sold out showings among thousands of screen times, mostly discounted daytime matinees, suggesting fragmented demand. Reports of theaters with very low or zero tickets sold for many showings are circulated widely. Reviews so far are limited. Many critics haven't screened it yet, but some social and online reactions label the documentary as tedious or overly staged. Meta commentary from media figures has been mocking rather than celebratory, including jokes about empty seats. Some crew members and behind-the-scenes reports describe chaotic production conditions and internal dissatisfaction. In some markets around the world, scheduled theatrical releases were pulled shortly before opening amid political tensions in South Africa, they're saying. Advertising campaigns like buses in LA have been vandalized and have backlash. The film's high costs and political associations have sparked debates about whether it's a documentary art, propaganda, or a vanity project. Jeez, they is not letting up off of this. You guys are savages here in America. I don't know. I think that this was a very bad timing for this movie to be released. This was a very, very poor timing, I think, for this movie. I'm going to watch the movie. I don't think I'm going to go in theaters because I kind of don't really want to be harassed to enjoy a movie. Okay, I don't really want to be harassed watching a movie. I will wait till it comes on my Prime and I can be in the comfort of my home. I love documentaries, but I think I'll wait for this one to come. I think this should have just been an online release versus a big theatrical one. Maybe a softer opening to save some money, but good for Melania. Good for her. Let her get her coins. Shout out to her. So guys, watching for the first time, we are the New Party Podcast. We live stream every Monday through Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you wait till the end of the stream, we have a promo clip where you could see some of the featured voices. Also, if you guys subscribe to our channel, you can see all of our past streams. We had one last night. This week, we've been talking about the Alex Purdy, Minnesota protests. We also have memberships, guys. We are doing member-only content. We got up close in Charlie Kirk before he was passed away. We went to his events, so that was fun. We also went to the Diddy trial. That was fun. We have those on member-only streams. So make sure you guys subscribe, get a membership. If you become a member in the chat, you can have emojis as well and stand out. The more our channel grows, the more you'll want those emojis so you can laugh and make jokes with our faces, different things. So anyways, guys, we appreciate you guys for watching. Come back Monday night at 8 p.m. God bless. Good. Actually, come back Monday morning at 6 a.m. I will be back on at 6 a.m. We will be having a weekend recap. Hopefully, it's an uneventful weekend. Last weekend was very eventful with the Alex Purdy Unalivement. So hopefully this weekend, I'll be talking about more lighthearted stuff. But anyways, God bless, guys. Have a nice work day if you're working. And if you're protesting, protest safe. Have a good time. God bless everyone.
Before we wrap, I want to take a quick moment to talk about how you can support the New Party. We are an independent media platform. No corporate backers, no political handlers, just a collection of voices representing all American viewpoints, especially the stories they don't want you talking about.
I'm disgusted with our government, and it doesn't matter which party you're talking about. I'm disgusted.
We are watching an act of genocide. I don't know how else to put it. There are thousands of people getting killed every day.
This is the first time in history that an American cardinal has ever been elevated to Pope. It is legitimately make America great again.
Yeah.
Like, they're fighting for illegal immigrants, not immigrants. Illegal. Like, and they burning the flag and shit.
Like I always say, it was a great episode. I'm happy with the wins that Donald Trump's.
Like you heard Nora Skeptic say, we're going to keep bringing like different types of content and things that we know people want to see. And like we always say on the New Party, always vote.
If you believe Americans can still have civil discourse, even in these polarizing times, we need your help to stay independent and keep growing. You can support us by donating to our GoFundMe page, becoming a channel member, sending a super chat, or grabbing merch from the New Party store. Every donation goes directly toward growing the channel promotion and our upcoming documentary. And as a thank you, Donors will receive an exclusive copy of the documentary 1 week before it premieres. Who is the New Party? We're you, your voice, your stories, your America. We can only do this together. So if you're able, please donate and help us get the message out.